We're a safe space, Gons. We're safe space.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is July 27th, 2020, episode 224. And this week, Civil Chaos Crypto Crispr Cow. That's right. And you know me, I'm not person, woman, man, camera, TV. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gons. We're back here on Monday, live streaming with, from what I can tell, 0 people watching on Twitch, which can't be because I see people in the chat.
Yeah, they're just messing with our numbers, trying to keep us down.
I know.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We got 39 over at Twitch. We're still waiting for people to come in. So there you go. Well, happy to be here. Gons, are you happy to be here?
Yeah, sure.
You heard it here first, folks.
So pumped.
That authentic and excited attitude from your favorite Gonzo.
Grumpy Gons.
Anything exciting happen over the weekend?
No, just got more gray hairs, you know.
Yeah.
Gray hairs are coming in strong. I do want to thank That Night Wind on YouTube for actually doing the timestamps.
Somebody actually did it.
Yeah. And
that's great.
So I pinned that to at least the Face Like the Sun channel. I needed to do that for the other channels, but it's definitely helpful. It's really nice to have all the stories and everything just time-stamped, and you can just go there. You don't have to listen to all this nonsensical banter at the beginning of the show if you're watching later on YouTube.
That's the best part of the show, but I get it. Yeah, we should put that in the show notes as well on canarycrynewstalk.com. So thank you very much. What was the name of that person? It
was That Night Wind.
That Night Wind. You heard it, folks. Everybody, you can thank That Night Wind. I think we'll officially make them a producer for last episode as well.
Yes.
So
we'll do.
Very good. Thank you very much. And hopefully they do it again. And if not, somebody else does. And as a reminder, well, you know, if you're listening to the show and you're just kind of hanging out and you're able to take time codes for when we switch topics, that's super helpful for people trying to navigate the show on YouTube and I think other places as well. So that's very cool. Thank you very much. That Night Wind. Huzzah.
Huzzah. Yep. And then I see some stuff in the notes here that I don't know what it's about.
Okay.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Did you see that? The person, woman, man, camera, TV?
I saw the note. I don't know what it's referring to.
Oh, it was Trump. That was Trump's proof that he is mentally fit to run the country.
Was that a tweet or something? Did he tweet that out?
Apparently, it was a cognitive test that he had to take. That he, wanted to make sure everybody knew he was cognitively fit to be president. And he said, "Oh yeah, you got to take this cognitive test where you got to remember words and." Person, woman, man, camera, TV. So there you go. I'm totally fine. Get out of my way.
Okay.
It's just one of those fun little jokes floating around that, came from the president over the weekend there.
Nice.
But, the people who are engaged would already know that. They're totally on board. But Gons, let's start out with a Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okie dokie, Flippy update. For those who don't know, Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied arm that is taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. And let's see here. This week, we like to use the conversation about Flippy, the burger flipping robot, as a proxy conversation to discuss how robots are, taking over the world and what we got to keep an eye out for. Today, I'm coming from MSN.com. The article is titled, "With Robots' Help, Oxnard turns unused park space into spot for social distancing activities. And there's a little video there, Guns, we can show on the screen. It's a big grassy field with a bunch of circles in it. And the article reads, when the city of Oxnard purchased a robot to mark up sports fields, staff members placed 2 eyeball stickers on it and named it Joey. Since then, the robot has put in a lot of work. Over the Plaza Park in downtown, Joey painted hashtag Oxnard Together as a rallying cry during these isolating times. At College Park, he painted dozens of circles guiding visitors to social distance. Inside one of the circles was Diane Wee, who was working up a sweat during a recent Zumba class. Quote, I feel safer here. I probably wouldn't do this if it was indoors, Wee said. It's like you have your own personal workout pod. Oh, okay. With the help of a turf painting robot, the city has been able to quickly transform unused park space. Now that team sports are prohibited locally and across the country, the Cultural and Community Services Department started offering free outdoor Zumba and yoga classes at College Park and recently added a Tai Chi class. Cultural and Community Services, blah, 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 blah. Then they go into sort of an ad for this Cultural and Community Services organization. But the most important thing is, watch out, groundskeepers. Flippy's coming for you. And he's got big googly eyes on. So there you go. I'm telling you, people, the googly eyes, you got to watch out for them. It's a statement. It's propaganda. And it's being used to take away your freedoms.
Yeah, Joey, the green, lime green robot drawing circles on the ground for social distancing. I don't know. They couldn't just get somebody else to do it. They had to get a robot.
I don't know. Well, yeah, of course, did you ever play team sports besides swimming on a grass-based team sports when you were a kid?
I played a little soccer, yeah. Yeah,
there you go. I played a lot of baseball when I was a kid, and you kind of, having the old man Magoo out there painting the lines on the field was always, I never considered how important it was to have a human presence drawing the lines on the field until old man Magoo got his job replaced by Joey, the propaganda robot.
I just think it's funny too how they show these people exercising and, I feel safe now. Now that I have these circles drawn in the grass, I feel safe.
Oh, yeah. It's just like elementary school, you got to have a little mark on the ground to know where to stand. Otherwise, what are you going to do?
Otherwise, Rona, obviously.
The Rona will get you. Yep. So there you go. Robots telling us how to live. Even more, Gons.
Yeah, it's no surprise. Well, we got a bunch of quick updates here. One of them is it's making the rounds. It's something that we reported on, not this exact story, but something similar here. Let's start with, we'll just do the update jingle here.
We interrupt this broadcast to give you a brief update. By the end of this timely interruption, you will be thoroughly updated.
COVID.
All right. And this story comes from gov.uk.
Ooh,
press
official.
Release. Yeah, official. Press release. COVID-19 confirmed in pet cat in the UK. Shut it down. Shut down the whole UK. The UK's chief veterinary officer has confirmed that the virus responsible for COVID-19 has been detected in a pet cat in the UK. The infection was confirmed following tests at the Animal and Plant Health Agency APHA laboratory in Weybridge on Wednesday, the 22nd of July. Yeah, there you go. I mean, nothing really to say about
sniffles.
that. Yeah. We reported on Dutch cat, you said, I think.
Yeah,
earlier.
so this was months ago, kind of at the beginning of quarantine. There was a Dutch kitten who had coronavirus. I never was able to track down the fate of that cat. I'm hoping they pulled out of it fine.
Wow.
And then there was a tiger There was a tiger.
Oh, right. There was a tiger.
I'm going off of memory here. I think the tiger was in the New York Zoo. Got coronavirus. So now, watch out, UK kitties, British kitties.
If they didn't,
Corona's coming for you.
if we didn't hear anything about it, they probably didn't die. Because if they died, then we would hear about it and we would be in
that would have been
fear.
ultimate propaganda.
Ultimate propaganda machine. Because the pets, got to protect the pets. Cat masks.
I know. That's, Americans make more decisions based on their pets than anything else at this point.
Yeah. Well, we got a quick VR update too. Here.
Yep. We talked about the past couple weeks, the issues with professional sports, and you can pay tickets to have a cardboard cutout of you placed in the stands someplace. I think baseball. Oh shoot! I think it's either in preseason or they're playing games. I think they're playing in a waiting room. I'm sorry.
Yeah, baseball's in season now. I think they're playing like 60 games or something.
Yeah, I saw a game on when I was waiting in a waiting room this last week, so that's the only way I knew. But here we go. Over on Twitter, what are we looking at, Gons?
It's just a video of Fox News telling their fans or telling viewers that, no fans, not on Fox Sports. We got virtual reality fans kind of, overlaid into the crowd area, which is creepy already. They can do the wave, cheering, booing, all kinds of stuff. And there was they can even wear team colors and all this stuff and
change their outfits.
I actually think that this is creepier than what I saw over the weekend. There was a Dodger game on and they had these giant cutouts. Did you see any of that from the Dodger game? These huge cutouts, cardboard people that were way too big. They were completely not sized right.
I didn't know they were too big.
Oh, they're way too big. It was hilarious. And they're all kind of in the background. It's just the whole thing is so dystopic. Who thought the dystopia would be so silly looking?
Yeah, well, this is an interesting concept because what it's doing is it's pointing out a little bit of a disturbing fact about sports or professional sports or much more than that, just televised sports and the ritual, the American ritual, or really as a worldwide ritual of watching sports on television. The fact that they're going through such lengths to put fake fans in the stands says some really interesting things about the desire of sports fans, sports watchers, because in theory, you should be able to watch a baseball game with no fans in the stands and be fine. You're there to watch the game, to watch the teams, to watch the competition. But apparently it's just too isolating or lonely or some sort of uncanny valley. I think it's kind of an uncanny valley situation where you want to be watching something that other people are also watching. Like there's that feeling of connectedness that comes from the ritual of watching sports on TV. Is, look at all these people, they're there, but I'm also connected to them because I'm watching on TV. I can see them. Other humans are having this experience with me. It's kind of like, it fits into some interesting philosophies of desire where, your desires come from what you think other people want you to desire. Well, that's a much bigger conversation, but it's a sort of a well-known philosophical trope. And it's like, I can't stand to watch baseball unless there's other fans there knowing that I'm watching baseball.
Well, part of it too, it's interesting because it doesn't affect, like the players don't have, I don't know, sometimes I think they have crowd noise or whatever through the speakers, but it doesn't really, I'm sure it affects them a little bit, but not really, only the players. Yeah, only in situations where, you want to wave to the crowd or something.
But see, I think it's kind of the same thing.
No. But that's what I'm saying. I think as a fan, you have this ideology of, I hit a home run and I can hear the crowd cheer. And like, I want that affirmation, and it's that fantasy. Why
that's
am I
what
even
out here if nobody's watching me?
Right. But they're all watching from home. So wave to the camera, that's the new thing. Wave to the camera.
That's a lonely feeling.
Yeah. or wave to the robots that have the Skype call or whatever going.
So I think this really fits into, I think the sports leagues are starting to realize just how uncanny it is to try not just to play a game with no fans in the stands, but also to watch the team play a game knowing that there's no stands in the fans, it's almost like you're spying on a private event,
Oh yeah.
I think I don't know exactly how to knit it all together, but there's definitely some elements of social engineering and psyops involved in this.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely want to make this kind of a normal situation moving forward. But we got more updates here. This is another quick one here.
If you're working alone, wear a mask. The mask's not for you. It's to protect the people you care about.
Thanks, Batman. This is from Fox 6 Now. Noah's Ark GM fired over anti-mask comments and email to Wisconsin Dells officials. And I think I could play this clip. It'll summarize everything in about 30 seconds here.
Noah's Ark in Wisconsin Dells no longer has that title. He's fired after making comments about a pending mask mandate. Now former general manager Mark Whitfield told the Sauk County Health Department that he should not have to wear a mask because not only because he had a medical condition, but because he has, quote, a religious problem with it. He went on to say no one in Sauk County has died from, and I stress, these are his words, the China virus since March. Whitfield was fired. The Sauk County Board of Supervisors still debating that possible mask mandate.
So,
what was that screaming in the background?
It's people going down a slide, the water slide at the Noah's Ark. The one thing they didn't mention in the actual news report there, Whitfield went on to say he had religious issues with the mandate, calling masks the mark of the beast. So he actually called it the mark of the beast, and so there you go. I mean, I don't know if
we need to send him Chris White's
a little chart of
identifying the mark of the beast.
I get the sentiment, I really do. I just don't think it's a hill to die on at this point. But I understand. Well, I understand the concerns.
Yeah. Real quick, just to take one step back, Isaiah 42:14 in the chat regarding the baseball conversation. Says this is a transition to esports. Which I think was actually a really good point.
That is a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think ESPN
slip that in there.
Somebody reported that ESPN just announced like a blockchain thing that you can use Bitcoin and all that for their esports platform. We'll get into all that in a little bit here, but so there you go. Don't make comments unless you want to get fired.
I got a 4 Horsemen of the Technocalypse update.
Okay, here we go. 4 Horsemen, where are you?
The 4 Horsemen of the Technocalypse.
Anytime you see the 4 Horsemen, it's something special.
Just keeping track of our good buddy Elon Musk. This isn't the most hard-hitting story, but you know what? We got to know what's going on in this guy's life. This is at the NZ Herald, the New Zealand Herald.co.nz, and it says Elon Musk scolded by Grimes on Twitter over pronouns post. Grimes, that's his girlfriend there, has lambasted her, what did I just say? Elon Musk's girlfriend is Grimes here. Grimes has lambasted her partner Elon Musk on Twitter, telling him to, quote, turn off your phone after he fired off a cryptic tweet about gender identity. The Tesla boss, who welcomed a child with Grimes in May, tweeted, quote, pronouns suck. Hours after another cryptic tweet that read, Twitter sucks. In a now deleted reply, Canadian singer Grimes pulled up her partner for his pronouns comment, quote, I love you, but please turn off your phone and give me a call. Grimes wrote, I cannot support hate. Please stop this. I know this isn't your heart. So Grimes trying to do some damage control for Musk there. Musk's messages are still on Twitter. It comes after the billionaire SpaceX founder made headlines for declaring his support for Kanye West's presidential campaign before withdrawing his support soon after, blah, blah, blah. But I thought this was funny because it's a whole new world when the disagreements with your partner,
significant
or
other,
your spouse, becomes a Twitter-wide public discussion.
Yeah, it's not looking.
But it's all if not virtue signaling, her PR people, must have been like, hey, you gotta say something about this publicly. You can't just privately scold your
that's the thing,
boyfriend.
We live in this weird like voyeuristic culture now where everything on Twitter is real life. So of course it's going to spill into all this, personal relationship type stuff, and then you got all these people commenting on behalf of Grimes. You go get him. You get him, girl. You occult lady. Go reel in your man, because men stink. That whole thing. So anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Keep it up there, Elon.
Interesting though. I mean, such a simple
2 words.
As pronouns suck. And you can even make an argument if I'm just going to play the field here for a second. Let's say that I was somebody who was militant about the use of pronouns and an individual's right to choose their own pronouns. The phrase "pronouns suck" could be agreed upon by anybody. I mean, if you're a pronoun warrior, it makes sense that pronouns would suck because there's such a complicated and genderizing and categorizing piece of language that we could probably just do without.
Labels
so, I don't know, Elon Musk, I think, you know what? His girlfriends are difficult, Elon. You'll be fine, buddy.
All right, one more quick update here.
We are indeed fake.
This one from thebulletintime.com. This software allows you to use deep fakes in video calls. And it has a picture of Elon in some kind of Zoom call right there. And it says here, the deep fakes, those manipulated videos that change the face of one person for another and superimpose the voice, reach video calls. This function is possible thanks to Avatarify, an open source software that uses artificial intelligence to change your face for another person's, like a famous person, in real time, reproducing the gestures and movements you make. As reported by Vice, this software has been developed by programmer Ali Aliyev, who posted a video on his YouTube channel a few weeks ago showing how he made his friends believe he was Elon Musk in a video call via Zoom.
Ooh.
Yeah, the software is available on GitHub and blah, 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 stuff about deepfakes. But
this is fun. Maybe I should play with this.
Maybe
I could make up a whole new face.
There you go. You can be part of the problem.
Wow, this sounds fun. I'm gonna have to look into this. If I don't know, my signature VR mask and googly eyes. The problem is I just can't win. If I switch over to a deep fake, people are gonna say I missed the googly eyes. I'm scared of this new computer face.
Yeah. Either way, they're gonna say they're gonna go after you because you're not showing your face.
I know, it's sick.
So.
People are sick.
Oh, yeah.
That is very interesting. Wow. A consumer grade. This is just going to cause so many problems. This is a good way to get out of work, though. If you have to show up for a Zoom call in the morning, like a lot of businesses are requiring, you can just kind of, make up a deep fake, sit your kid down in front of the computer, and you can go take a nap or something.
One of the themes we often bring up on this show is,
but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
If you read the book of Enoch, it talks about how the Watchers taught women how to wear makeup and stuff. This is like a whole new level now. You don't have to wear makeup. You just got to have the right deep fake to cover up all the blemishes.
Yeah, do you think that's better or worse that you can have virtual makeup and you don't have to desecrate your God-given face with paint?
We're already headed in that direction with all the filters. I mean, it's just another step. And actually, I think on like FaceTime now, you can pull up like You can make your face. You can get a little mask thing and make your face into like a little lion or a monkey.
Yeah,
you can
Snapchat
do that.
filters. And
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, you got stuff like that already. So I don't think that's make it a little more subtle, and you got something that everybody can use. They can roll out of bed, and instead of putting on makeup, they can deep fake it.
Oh, don't worry. I have Instagram guns. I am fully aware of the technical capabilities of hiding one's true identity with filters.
Yeah, it's a thing. All right.
Okay, interesting. You want to get into our first story here?
Sure.
He's a Satanist from one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies.
All right, a little update here about good old Tom Hanks. Obviously been in a lot of hot water recently due to his connections with the Lolita Express and the Epstein flight logs. And Egon's, I don't know if you've seen this, but there is just the whole internet is on board with this the Tom Hanks issue. There was a local news station I saw a while back who I forget what it was. It was like Tom Hanks's birthday or his anniversary, or maybe it was like the anniversary of one of his movies or something. And this local news station put out "Oh, Tom Hanks, thank you for all you've done for us. Happy birthday," or whatever. Let us know what you love about Tom Hanks.
Oh no, they did not do that for the public.
There was 30,000 comments by the time that I saw it, and I could not find one comment that was not a reference to Tom Hanks, allegedly being involved in Pizzagate. So it was a big spread the truth moment, and a lot of people were waking up because there's a lot of people like, I don't care about this pedo. I don't trust anybody who's been on the Lolita Express, et cetera, et cetera. All the theories revolving around Tom Hanks, including the COVID-19 ones. And then there's other people like, I don't get it. What's the Lolita Express? Somebody tell me. And it was quite the evangelistic event for people first hearing about a lot of the Pizzagate stuff.
Who needs Q when we have mainstream media opening it up for the public?
I know. There you go. So here we go. I'm over here on CNN.com because I just, I like to see what they have to say about things. The article is titled, "Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson are officially Greek citizens." How convenient. Yes. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson have a special reason to celebrate this week. They're both officially Greek citizens. In a picture posted on social media by the country's prime minister, the two proudly hold up their brand new passports. The couple and their children became honorary Greek citizens last year after officials highlighted Hanks' role in helping raise awareness about the 2018 fires that devastated areas near Athens and claimed the lives of more than 100 people. Quote, "Tom Hanks is a person who showed real interest in the people who suffered from the fire in Mati and promoted this issue in the global media," Greek Interior Minister Takis Theodorikakos told CNN in a statement in December. Wilson, who is part Greek, and Hanks, a Greek Orthodox convert. That is interesting. Did you know Tom Hanks was a Greek Orthodox convert?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down.
That's a whole nother layer of perception control, probably, to
very interesting.
Mitigate some of
have often been spotted spending their vacations in Greece, where they also own property on the island of Antiparos. The two have produced several films based on the Greek community and never shy away from sharing their admiration for the country and its people. Quote, "I've been Hellenic now," Hellenic just meaning Greek enthusiast. "I've been Hellenic now for the better part of 32 years. Hanks, almost 33 years. Almost.
It's like his announcement that he will be Greek for the 33rd year.
Yeah. Hanks told reporters at the 2020 Golden Globe Awards earlier this year, and this is where it got interesting, quote, "Greece is a haven I've been around the world. I've been to the most beautiful places in the world. None of them tops Greece. The land, the sky, the water. It's good for the soul. It's a healing place, Hank said. But given his recent issues being connected to Ghislaine Maxwell, that Lolita Express, Epstein Island, calling Greece a haven with his new passport, his new citizenship. I don't know if I were a conspiracy thinking person, this seems like a setup for him to avoid any extra attention or apprehension that may stem from the Ghislaine Maxwell case coming up next year.
Yeah, and Greece being sort of the ancient hub of pederasty and that sort of all that kind of stuff.
The boy love stuff in ancient Greece.
Yeah, there's let's see, according
I don't
to
like that.
Yeah, I know. According to the cities of the gods, Greek culture of the ancient periods was the principal cultural model for free relationships between citizens, and that means of all ages and all genders. I guess they only considered two back then, but if you're to extend that kind of cultural thing to today, then there you go. And his little tweet about it is weird too. It's like a shadow of him and like a statue or something. It's just
Oh yeah, I didn't even really pay attention to that. Yeah, he's known for having some pretty weird tweets. That
it's like a headless, like a headless statue of a Greek goddess or something.
And this is why you need to. This is why people need to become familiar with their occult imagery, not just checkerboard floors and all-seeing eyes and things like that. But you see a lot of messages in and when I say occult, I don't necessarily just mean like Satanism and stuff like that, but the ideology of hidden meanings and symbology. You'll see a lot of that stuff, and again, not just triangles and checkerboard floors, but there's all sorts of things like we'll save that for another episode. But you can see that in even the most benign of Instagram pictures, regarding people of his nature
or his ilk. Yeah. Well, there you go. He's running away before stuff comes out.
He's going to his haven. His haven in Greece.
Yeah, it is weird. It does feel like this is an escape. This is a runaway situation.
It certainly feels that way.
Trying to maybe avoid certain things that may come to light.
We'll see.
Yep. All right. Cool. Well, we have a couple updates on some money thingies.
Money.
$100 billion. I don't have any money.
All right. This first article. Oh, I think I have it backwards here. Maybe Yahoo Finance. Oh, no, I got it right. Okay. Finance.yahoo.com. This is titled Global Uncertainty Appears to Benefit Gold, Bitcoin, and Gold-Backed Stablecoins. Rallies in gold and Bitcoin continued into Monday's morning trading session, a development underpinned by uncertainty around the global economy and a weakening U.S. dollar. Bullion soared to record highs above $1,900 per ounce, while Bitcoin topped $10,300, its highest level since February. And as of right now, let me do a real quick refresh to do some live Bitcoin price updates here. 10,890.
While you do that, I want to say hi to William Steele,
nice.
Acclaimed jewel thief, Ghislaine Maxwell's good friend. He's in the chat.
Awesome. Maybe he can tell us about some jewel thievery, especially the precious metal thievery.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'm not going to really. This is more of like an update, but the main point here is that the dollar is weakening, and the one way we would know for sure that the dollar is getting weaker is gold prices going up. And gold hitting all-time highs is an indication that the hyperinflation is happening and modern monetary theory is somewhat failing. So just something to keep in mind here.
Right.
In a research note to clients, Goldman Sachs noted that it sees a strong case for structural dollar weakness Quote, gold stands out as the clearest outperformer, exceeding its already high beta to real yields. Dollar also has also slightly underperformed, as many pro-risk and Eurocentric currencies have seen even stronger than expected returns. And yada, 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 bank stuff. So, yeah, hey, if you own gold, if you own silver, if you own Bitcoin, you're a happy person today. It's been going up.
Yeah, fun times.
Yeah, fun times.
Bitcoin
And,
go to moon.
Bitcoin go to moon.
Bitcoin go to moon.
And along with that, I wanted to share this with you. MarketWatch.com, billionaire investor Ray Dalio fears for the dollar and the soundness of our money. And here's why. And we'll go through, these articles with MarketWatch and stuff, it's all technical market speak. I'll just kind of get to his main points here. Billionaire investor Ray Dalio warned the conflict between the U.S. and China could develop into a capital war, which would hurt the U.S. dollar. Quote, there's a trade war, there's a technology war, there's a geopolitical war, and there could be a capital war. That's the reality, Dalio said on Fox's Sunday Morning Futures. Quote, if you say by law, don't invest in China, or even possibly withholding the payment of bonds that the U.S. owes payment on in China, these things are possibilities, and they have big implications, such as for the value of the dollar, because pre-market investors are not used to having those things dictated by the government, he said. The Bridgewater Associates founder added that these difficult questions had to be, quote, well addressed, and it was a challenge for the government to get the policy right. The hedge fund firm laid off several dozen employees across the company this month, which is crazy. There's all these companies and corporations raking in billions, the Bezoses and all that. But these giant hedge funds are still laying people off, and unemployment still going up. And Ray Dalio, if you do you know about Ray Dalio, Basil? Do you know some of his like written works and stuff? Have you paid attention to
I've never paid too much attention to him. I've heard his name here and there.
Okay, so he actually has a very long post that he made in March called The Changing World Order. Where we are and where we are going.
Oh, it's a new world order. It's here.
And the link will be in the description here. It's a really, really long read. It's got about 4 chapters here, it looks like. I highlighted some key points here that I think is relevant to the conversation, because he believes that the New World Order is something that actually unfolded a couple times, and we're in this stage of another New World Order, which is something that we've kind of been saying too, like the destruction of the old world order in replacement of the New World Order, or the New World Order. And let me try to find it here. There's a whole summary section. I'm going through like 5 chapters. I'm trying to find the spot. Okay, in brief, the New World Order began after the end of World War II in 1945 with the Bretton Woods Agreement, having put the dollar in the position of being the world's leading reserve currency in 1944. The U.S. and the dollar naturally fit into that role because at the end of the war, the U.S. had around 2/3 of the world's gold held by governments, which was the world's money at the time, accounted for 50% of the world's economic production, and was the dominant military power. The new monetary system was a Type 2 claims on hard money monetary system, in which paper dollar claims on gold could be exchanged by other countries' central banks for an ounce of gold at the price of $35 an ounce. Remember, it's over 1900 now. Yeah. It was then illegal for individuals to own gold because government leaders didn't want gold to compete with money and credit as a storehold of wealth. So at the time, gold was the money in the bank, and the paper dollar were like checks in a checkbook that could be turned in for the real money. At the time of the establishment of this new monetary system, there were $50 of paper money in existence for each ounce of gold the U.S. government owned. So there was nearly 100% gold backing. Other major countries that were U.S. allies, example the UK, France, and the Commonwealth countries, or under U.S. control, Germany, Japan, and Italy had U.S.-controlled currencies that were linked to the dollar. In the years that followed, to finance its activities, the U.S. government spent more than it took in tax revenue, so it had to borrow money, which created more dollar-denominated debt. The U.S. Federal Reserve allowed the creation of a lot more claims on gold, dollar-denominated money and credit, than could actually be converted into gold at that $35 price. As the paper money was turned in for the hard money, gold, the quantity of gold in the U.S. bank went down at the same time as the claims on it continued to rise. As a result, the Bretton Woods monetary system broke down in August 15th, 1971, when President Nixon, like President Roosevelt on March 5th, 1933, defaulted on the U.S.'s promise to allow holders of paper dollars to turn them in for gold. Thus, the dollar devalued against gold and other currencies. That is when the U.S. and all countries went to a Type 3 fiat monetary system. And so that's a little history here, and I think he gets into where we're headed with this now. Let me scroll. This is a really long article, if you can't tell. He's written a lot here. Okay, so he's talking about this next era here, and this is what he says, quote, "In brief, after the creation of a new set of rules establishes the new world order, there's typically a peaceful and prosperous period. As people get used to this, they increasingly bet on the prosperity continuing, and they increasingly borrow money to do that, which eventually leads to a bubble. As the prosperity increases, the wealth gap grows. Eventually, the debt bubble bursts, which leads to the printing of money and credit and increased internal conflict, which leads to some sort of wealth redistribution revolution that can be peaceful or violent. Typically at that time, late in the cycle, the leading empire that won the last economic and geopolitical war is less powerful relative to rival powers that prospered during the prosperous period. And with the bad economic conditions and the disagreements between powers, there's typically some kind of war. Out of these debt, economic, domestic, and world order breakdowns that take the forms of revolutions and wars come new winners and losers. Then the winners get together to create a new domestic and world orders." So I think that's kind of it's a good description of, I think, what's happening here with the economic warfare and why gold is going up. You know, this is, I think there's some, obviously, turmoil, U.S. and China being one of the main ones we focus on, but with the arrival of something like Bitcoin, it throws in another, Bitcoin over 11,000. It throws in a whole nother wrench because Bitcoin itself is not a nation. You know, this is the first time we don't have like a national.
Right. There's no centralized authority.
Right. So this makes the whole thing very interesting, something to keep in mind. But I think, the whole new world order system on the blockchain and all this, I think we do see a type of cleanup situation. I've been saying this for a while here. The new world order and what that's going to be. It's going to be a cleanup of the old system and all the corruption, and it's going to appear to be good for a while, and it probably will be good for a while, but eventually that's going to go haywire too and go the wrong way. And that's kind of the warning. You know, it's like, hey, we might see some downfall of the central banks and everything, and that's why we reported on the last episode that all the U.S. banks now can custody Bitcoin. And that's a huge deal. They have to get new licenses and all this kind of stuff, but it's a big deal for them to be able to do that. Visa, MasterCard getting involved, PayPal getting involved. Everybody's starting to talk about Bitcoin and the crypto world because it brings a type of transparency that didn't exist before. And although that's good in the short term, it can be very, very bad if certain organizations, institutions, even countries are able to harness that and demand certain things out of the people. For example, you know, a microchip in the hand or biometrics or whatever it might be to access that stuff. None of that necessary at the moment, but that's kind of where things seem to be headed.
Yeah, and you mix that with the coin shortage and many establishments refusing to take cash, things like that. Things are lining up quite pretty interestingly recently.
Yeah. So, I mean, my personal goal with anything like Bitcoin or gold or silver, just be able to get some land, you know, so I can just get off the grid.
That's the way to do it.
Get off the grid, folks.
It's inconvenient. It's a lot of work. But
it is super hard to get off the grid, especially since, people who grew up in the city like I did. Man, it's like
got some learning to do there, city boy.
I know. I got to get some books and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's jump over to this next Money, Money, Money article.
$100 billion. I don't have any money.
That's right. I'm over here at MSN.com. Article entitled "Coronavirus Relief Will Include $1,200 Checks and Extension of Eviction Moratorium," says Kudlow. The next round of coronavirus relief will include $1,200 stimulus checks, and the Trump administration will lengthen the federal eviction moratorium, White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow said on Sunday. Quote, "There's a $1,200 check coming. That's going to be part of the new package," Kudlow said in an interview on CNN's State of the Union. Republicans have finalized the next relief bill worth about $1 trillion and will introduce it Monday. The legislation is set to provide temporary and reduced extension of unemployment benefits, another round of stimulus checks, liability protection for businesses, and funding to help schools restart. It will also include $16 billion in new funds for testing and tax incentives to encourage companies to rehire employees. Quote, "The check is there, the reemployment bonus is there, the retention bonus is there," Kudlow said of the next relief legislation. "There will be breaks, tax credits for small businesses and restaurants. It's a very well-rounded package," Kudlow said. "It's a very well-targeted package." Interesting. Well-rounded and well-targeted. Not sure how those things match up, but okay. Kudlow also said the administration plans to lengthen the federal eviction moratorium, which has protected millions of renters in the last 4 months from getting evicted. Cities across the U.S. have been bracing for a surge of evictions when the moratorium expired on Friday. Oh, I was unaware that it expired. That's interesting. The moratorium covered renters in building with mortgages backed by the government. Lawmakers and housing advocates have called for a nationwide eviction ban, along with rent cancellations and other forms of housing relief. Cities across the U.S. had been bracing for a surge of evictions when the moratorium expired. The $600 weekly supplement to state unemployment checks that was imposed in March ended over the weekend. Democrats want to extend the aid, while Republicans are set to reduce the subsidy, arguing that extended aid is a disincentive for unemployed Americans to find work. Kudlow said the administration's plan to cap unemployment benefits on approximately 70% wage replacement is quite generous by any standard. Last week, Republicans were considering extending the insurance benefit at a reduced level of $400 per month or $100 a week through the rest of the year. As negotiations continue, it's not yet clear when the potentially reduced unemployment supplement would go into effect. The U.S. unemployment rate has surged to above 10% because of the pandemic, which is still lower unemployment than much of the Obama presidency, strangely enough. With nearly 32 million Americans now receiving unemployment benefits, according to the Labor Department. Even as cases surge across the South and West, Kudlow remained optimistic about a U.S. economic recovery. The odds favor a big increase in job creation and a big reduction in unemployment, he said. So there you go. There's some more money coming your way, gods.
What happened to all the trillions? Didn't we print 6 trillion? Have you heard of...
we spent it. We spent it already.
I know, it's ridiculous. Have you heard of something called the Cantillon effect? Do you know about the Cantillon effect? Okay, so it's an economic thing based on Richard Cantillon. And he basically came up with this idea that people that are closest to the creation of money benefit the most. And so when we talk about printing all these dollars, the people that benefit the most are the people that are closest to those who are actually printing the money, you know, the Mnuchins and all that.
Right.
And the big corporations and they're getting the bailouts. And we've seen that here. We've seen the trillions being printed. We've seen the billionaires make more billions and unemployment go up. You know, it's just like, what are we doing here? What's the plan?
Yeah, I know.
It's just out of control.
Crazy. Now, I do want to mention, just because we had a couple of lingering questions from last episode, K-Razy, one of our Patreon producers of the show, sent us a message regarding the voluntary tax system that was brought up. So apparently, allegedly, we do have a voluntary tax system. It's just sort of secretly voluntary, and they find all sorts of reasons to make it not voluntary. So that was one thing. And they did point out I did get the math wrong on giving every man, woman, and child $1,000 for a week and the cost of that over 5 years. I forgot a zero in one of the calculations, and it is significantly higher than I was mentioning on last episode. So I stand corrected.
All right, good. At least someone can do math out there.
Yeah.
Apparently not us. So there you go. A lot of money things going on with the stimulus check and all that. But yes, the more they print, as simple supply demand here, the more money, the more dollars they print, the less purchasing power each dollar has. And so this is something to kind of keep in mind, but things aren't getting more expensive. It's just the purchasing power of your dollar is becoming less and less and less. And that's why, bar of candy or whatever was 5 cents, I don't know, 40, 50 years ago or whatever, maybe more. Right. And now it's like $3. It's not that the candy bar is more expensive.
It's directly related to the amount of money that they're printing.
Right.
Which does not come as a revelation to many people.
No.
But yeah, with now upwards over 7 trillion new dollars printed over the past 6 months, it's starting to get a little squirrely.
Yeah, and so to expect assets, hard, quote unquote, hard assets, like your Bitcoin, like gold, like silver, expect it to go up and go crazy because, all that money is probably going to, people that know what's going on, they're going to put all their money in those types of assets. And again, your dollar's not going to be able to purchase as much, but it's a store of value. So that's why we keep saying Bitcoin, go to moon. All right. Enough of that money stuff. Let's get into we have a CRISPR update.
There's a new conspiracy, Gons.
Oh, really? What's that?
In the chat.
What's that?
Cool Runnings Mon says Gons is not really Asian.
Not really Asian.
Uh-oh.
What am I then?
I don't know why. I don't know why you're hiding this from us, Gons. But
should I take off my mask? Let me take off my Asian mask.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I can do to.
All right.
Okay. Well, you threw me off here. What am I doing? Oh, here we go.
We got to talk about CRISPR.
CRISPR. Cas9.
That's right. This is a really long story on technologytimes.pk. CRISPR genome engineering potential sex-determined cow Cosmo arrives. And it says here, and we've been tracking the CRISPR stuff here, and I think we reported on this project a while ago in one of our CRISPR Cas9 updates. But here we are. I think it's the animal geneticist. Wait, hold on. Did I skip something here? No, I guess I didn't. The animal geneticist reminded herself that gene-edited embryos like the one that had been growing inside cow 3113 for the past 9 months can take a little longer to signal to their surrogate mothers that they're ready to be born. By the following week, 2 false alarms at the UC Davis beef barn later, with still no signs of impending labor, Van Einenam, am I saying that right?
Sure.
Ianenam. Fraying nerves had enough. She called the vet. It was time to induce. After nearly 5 years of research, at least $500,000, dozens of failed pregnancies, and countless scientific setbacks, Van Eineman's pioneering attempt to create a line of CRISPRed cattle tailored to the needs of the beef industry all came down to this one calf, who, as luck seemed sure to have it, was about to enter the world in the middle of a global pandemic.
Ooh.
Just, by the way, for those of you not watching and just listening, there's this giant coronavirus like overlay on this website is really annoying. I can only read one paragraph at a time because this giant Rona thing is in the way here. But anyway, just weeks prior, California's governor had ordered the entire state to stay home to avoid spreading a deadly new coronavirus. That was following the discovery of the U.S.'s first case of community spread. The patient was treated at the U.S. Davis Medical Center about 20 miles away from the beef barn.
UC.
What did I say?
U.S.
Oh, UC Davis Medical Center about 20 miles away from the beef barn. ICU beds in the Bay Area were filling up. Van Aneman was worried about what might happen if the delivery went south and they needed to do a C-section. Veterinarians were being asked to save their sedatives to help fill the growing demand for human COVID-19 patients on ventilators.
Whoa.
And as if that wasn't ominous enough, the veterinary resident who arrived that day to oversee the birth had spent the morning putting down a number of sheep from the UC Davis herd that had been mangled by coyotes in the night.
Oh.
Quote, "Given how this project has gone, this seriously couldn't have ended much differently," Van Eneman said, her Australian lilt tinged with uneasy sarcasm. "It's like the 3 riders of the apocalypse are probably going to be right on his tail."
Only 3 of them.
Only 3, yeah, not the 4th
They're
one.
They're missing one.
That's not exactly what happened. The calf arrived that afternoon, 110 pounds and jet black, save for an ankle-grazing splash of white above his rear hooves. 2 vets had to extract him from cow 3113 with chains, but when he was lowered onto the straw-covered barnyard, he was alive and breathing. "Cosmo!" Van Eneman would shout in triumph. "Welcome to the world, little guy." The sky did not darken and the world did not end, but the black calf, while big and strong and healthy, wasn't exactly what the scientists had hoped to create. A close look at his DNA would expose just how unpredictable CRISPR gene editing can be, and how much more scientists still need to learn before the technology can become routine practice for animal reproduction. Joey Owen had never really been an animal guy. He studied biochemistry and then cancer genetics before bouncing his way into Van Eneman's livestock lab in 2014. It was a hopeful time for scientists like them. CRISPR genome engineering potential had been discovered just 2 years before. It opened up the possibility of creating designer domesticates without the need to port genes from one species into another. Older genetic engineering technologies relied on using viruses and bacteria to shuttle DNA around, triggering an expensive and lengthy approval process from U.S. regulators. As a result, American farmers and ranchers had to this point relied only on the plodding progress of selective breeding to improve the genes of their herds and flock. CRISPR promised to change that.
Ooh.
Van Eneman had her sights set on cattle and a gene called SRY, a long stretch on the Y chromosome that instructs mammalian embryos to develop male traits. In nature, there's an equal chance that cows, and people for that matter, will give birth to male XY or female XX offspring.
So unwoke.
Yeah, super unwoke. Yeah, what about XZ, huh?
These cows are hateful.
But if she could use CRISPR to add a copy of SRY onto the X chromosome of bovine embryos, then she could skew the odds in favor of producing an all-male herd. Any animals with the SRY gene would be physiologically male, even the ones that were genetically XX. That was the hypothesis she wanted to test anyhow. No one had ever done it before. In the beef industry, which likes its cattle bigger and meatier, more males means more money means more better. Since male calves gain weight more efficiently than females, farmers could produce the same quantities of meat within fewer animals, potentially reducing the industry's planet-warming emissions. If Van Eneman could prove the concept, that might pave the way for creating other single-sex species. Single-sex species. All-female flocks of egg-laying chickens and herds of dairy cows, and ultimately, she felt, a less cruel industrial food production system.
Oh, yikes.
Now, hold on. Yeah. How is... I commend her efforts here, but I'm trying to get the logic here of how...
Well, she obviously hasn't seen Jurassic Park, Gons. Allegedly, all the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park were female, And they didn't breed any clone or create any males because they didn't want the dinosaurs breeding. But because they edited the genes with frog DNA, and amphibians can switch genders depending on the needs of their environment, then the dinosaurs were able to switch genders and then begin breeding. And that's what's going to happen to these cows. These cows are going to go the way of the dinosaurs and not in the way that you're thinking. But you know what, Gons? Life finds a way.
I know. But can you imagine eating Cosmo, the COVID cow, all male breed, no female? It's just weird, man.
I don't know. I'm not really aware of the differences in taste between the two sexes of cows. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it's just weird that her logic of like, oh, we're gonna save, we're gonna be humanitarian, we're gonna save the animals by just breeding all males. It's just, I don't know.
Right.
The logic
That's
is weird.
And if one was to take the position of a eco warrior type person, genetically modifying all cows to be the same sex is not necessarily less cruel.
Right.
Like, what is the difference in cruelty if you are, raising a boy cow in a box and then slaughtering them, or raising a girl cow in a box and slaughtering them? I'm not sure how this is less cruel.
Yeah, and this is a really long article, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I had this highlighted because how names are always interesting. A lady named Lisa Moses, of course,
Ooh.
Moses, an animal bioethicist at Harvard Medical School, told the Wall Street Journal at the time of those reports, quote, "It's really hubris of us to assume that we know what we're doing and that we can predict what kinds of bad things can happen."
Yeah.
And
there you go. She's seen Jurassic Park.
She's seen Jurassic Park for sure.
All four of them.
Yeah.
When are they going to figure out that theme park is not a good idea? How many children need to get eaten by velociraptors?
I haven't watched the last 3.
Jurassic World. It was pretty cool.
Oh yeah. We got to still make Jurassic Galaxy, Jurassic Universe. So when the raptors evolved.
Don't worry, everybody. We figured it out. We're not going to put the dinosaurs on an island. We're going to put the dinosaurs on the moon. And but of course, life will find a way. The dinosaurs will figure out how to get back to Earth.
Yeah, I think there was a story we didn't get to last week about how they talked about making nukes on. Or nuclear plants on the moon and Mars or something.
Nuclear reactors,
reactors, yeah. That's interesting.
Very interesting. They're taking bids for mini nuclear reactors that they can use to power, colonies on the moon and Mars. It is a fascinating article. Didn't quite fit into the show though.
Yeah, we didn't get to it. But yeah, there you go. There's more here, but I think you get the gist of it here. You have I like this sentence here. It'll all be pure research. Cosmo's jellyfish genes made sure of that even before the plasmid turned up. Neither he nor his progeny will ever enter the food supply. The story is likely to end in a UC Davis incinerator. So there you go.
They're going to incinerate him? What was the point? Why did I get so invested in this little baby cow?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Cook them up.
Yeah, the whole thing was for naught.
Oh, man. All right. Well, you know what'll cheer us up?
What's that?
Talking about riots.
Oh, riots. Cheer us up.
The race wars.
Race wars.
Race war.
I've warned you and warned you and warned you.
Okay, let's see here. I'm going to head over to thefederalist.com. So we're going to lean pretty far to the right on this article here. The article is titled, "Fatalities and Injuries Climb as Riots Around the Nation Grow More Violent." Another fatal weekend struck the United States as protests and riots around the country grow increasingly violent. Big cities such as Chicago, Seattle, Denver, Austin, and Portland all suffer from a weekend filled with chaos. In Chicago, over 54 people were shot in the last 3 days, with at least 2 recorded deaths. Record violence has plagued the city since protests surrounding George Floyd's death and calls for defunding the police began in early June. In Seattle, rioters grew rowdier and began attacking buildings on Saturday, according to the Seattle Police Department. Rioters set multiple buildings on fire and broke windows at King County Youth Service Center, Judge Patricia H. Clark Children and Family Justice Center campus. Wow. Jeez. They also attacked local businesses, including a Starbucks attached to an apartment complex and the Seattle Police Department's East Precinct. There was at least one major explosion that caused damage to the precinct building. Wow, that precinct building cannot catch a break, man. They just keep going after that East Precinct. Then there's a whole bunch of tweets there showing the violence. I guess you can kind of scroll through there. Lots of graffiti, broken windows, and fires and things like that. When police declared the gathering a riot, the crowd threw bottles and balloons filled with liquid and shot mortar fireworks and tossed explosives at officers, leaving 21 officers with injuries. 45 rioters were arrested. In Aurora, Colorado, a suburb of Denver, authorities are investigating a shooting that injured 2 after a Jeep drove through a crowd of protesters, where there were no injuries from the Jeep, which the driver claims he drove through the area because, quote, he was scared and trying to get away. Sounds reasonable to me. From attacks on his vehicle by rioters, but shots were still fired from the crowd. According to the Aurora Police Department, police are still investigating the shooting and the Jeep incident. In Austin, a similar incident unraveled when a group of protesters surrounded a car at a protest Saturday night. This time, however, the driver was the one who fatally shot protester Garrett Foster at the time. Foster was wielding an AK-47 rifle. Quote, Austin's police chief Brian Manley told reporters on Sunday that as the motorist turned, a crowd of protesters surrounded the vehicle and some struck the car, said the New York Times. Quote, minutes after the shooting, the driver called 911 and said he had been involved in a shooting and had driven away from the scene, Chief Manley said. The caller told dispatchers he had shot someone who had approached the driver's window and pointed a rifle at him. In the interview earlier in the evening, Foster explained that he brought his gun to exercise his open carry and Second Amendment rights. Quote, they don't let us march in the streets anymore, so I got to practice some of our rights, Foster said. If I use it against the cops, I'm dead. In Portland, gunfire, arson, stabbings, and other violence followed rioters as they made their way across the city. By Sunday, rioters had breached and surrounded the Marco Hatfield U.S. courthouse, causing the incident to be declared an official riot. I like that term, an official riot. You can't have a riot until it's official. According to the Associated Press, federal agents used tear gas, flashbangs, and pepper balls to ward off rioters early into Monday morning. As of Sunday, Portland police had arrested at least 26 people and alerted the public that they found Molotov cocktails as well as loaded rifle magazines. Ooh. Federal agents established a controversial presence in the area. Okay, they talk about the federal agents there again. Well, let's read through it. Let's see if there's anything new. Federal agents established a controversial presence in the area to help protect and defend federal buildings, as well as quell violence that many have said local and state officials have failed to do. President Trump criticized Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler's handling of the situation on Thursday. Quote, he made a fool out of himself. He made a fool out of himself, Trump told Sean Hannity on Fox News. He wanted to be among the people, so he went into the crowd and they knocked the hell out of him. That was the end of him. Ooh, yikes. Oregon's U.S. Attorney Billy J. Williams called for the violent extremists to cease their rioting and reinforce the idea of a federal presence in the area on Saturday. Quote, until that happens, we're going to do what we need to do to protect federal property, Williams said. When the violence ends, then there won't be a need for the presence of nightly federal officers. It seems quite simple. While the Department of Homeland Security and other agencies have acknowledged the presence of Antifa at the riots and are possibly instigating them, some Democrats are not taking the attack as seriously. Representative and chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Jerry Nadler, told one journalist that he thinks Antifa hosting the Portland riots is a myth. That's a myth that's being spread only in Washington, D.C. Well, I don't know about that. Let me see.
I actually have a clip of that.
Oh.
Let me play it real quick because this was tweeted out It's about a 39-second clip. Let me try to fit this in the our little browser here. Basically, on the top half of the video is the violence happening, and on the lower half is Nadler denying any kind of violence. So
it is true. There's violence across the whole country. Do you disavow the violence from Antifa that's happening in Portland right now? There's riots.
That's a myth that's being spread only in Washington, D.C.
About Antifa in Portland?
Video footage of people.
Sir, there's videos everywhere online. There's fires and riots. They're throwing fireworks at federal officers. DHS is there. Look online. It gets crazy, Mr. Nadler.
And there's
wow. So
yeah, I mean, it's just a good side-by-side comparison of some footage from the ground of what's going on in Portland, and then Nadler just saying it's a myth, and then walking off into his car. Just waddling. Yeah, gotta get out. I like how the guy, his handler, kind of like touches him like, hey, time to go. Time to go, sir.
Don't answer these questions.
Get in the car, sir.
Despite Chairman Nadler's claims, the federal government is treating the riots in Portland as very real. In a statement released on Sunday, the Department of Homeland Security called the rioters violent anarchists and said many officers have been injured because of the rioters' assaults. The violent situation Portland has witnessed for the past blah, blah, blah. We kind of know this. I don't think there's anything new. In Portland, an Antifa member and convicted pedophile stabbed a black Trump supporter who goes by the name Black Rebel. According to the Post-Millennial, Black Rebel claims Antifa members released his identity to an online community warning each other about him. Oh, interesting. When he noticed a group of people following him and his friends around Portland, Black Rebel finally confronted them, asking why they were targeting him. That's when David Hamp stabbed him. Black Rebel updated followers of his condition via his social media and Periscope live streams. Others also posted about the stabbing as well as the response from the rioters. Who is the... Oh, Black Rebel is the black Trump supporter.
Right.
Interesting. They have an unnamed Antifa member and convicted pedophile. Interesting. Okay. Police are investigating another shooting which claimed the life of Bernal Trammell, a fixture who ran a political and religious journal called Expressions in Milwaukee. He was also well known in the community for holding up signs expressing his religious and political beliefs, including his support for President Trump. Because of Trammell's outspoken nature, many are skeptical of his death that occurred in broad daylight and are publicly wondering if there is any connection to his political beliefs. Okay. They don't give a lot of details about that, but there you go. So lots of violence everywhere. It hasn't ceased. I'm surprised people aren't getting tired out there of, it's hard work throwing rocks and bricks all day.
Oh yeah. Not all day, but certainly all night.
Good point.
There's another article here that I thought was very interesting from OregonLive.com. And it kind of gives us a little window into what it's like on the other side of the line here. Because, we have all the people throwing rocks and all that. Inside the Portland protest zone, I don't think there's an end in sight. And there's a picture here of a screen of like a bunch of cameras just out in the street.
There's this Skynet camera
Skynet
action
style. How many cameras is it? 18 images from the streets. And the caption here says, a U.S. Marshals Service incident management team sat around a conference room table 2 flights up from the lobby at the Mark O. Hatfield United States Courthouse in downtown Portland. Each officer focused on a small black laptop, handheld radios, and large screens at either end, monitoring what's going on. Just kind of just so you know that they're watching. They're not just in there like cowering. What are we going to do with all these protesters?
I don't see any facial recognition boxes on those images, though.
Yeah, not yet. Federal officers wearing camouflage fatigues sat in the dark, shoulder to shoulder. No social distancing? Lining the marble lobby.
What the heck?
Yeah, lining the
This
marble
guy's not
lobby.
wearing a mask.
Which, by the way, it's there's no social distancing from the rioters either. But anyway, lining the marble lobby of the Marco Hatfield U.S. Courthouse, where lawyers toting briefcases have typically crossed the gleaming floor. Officers now waited with rifles and launchers slug across their shoulders, holding shields and outfitted in helmets and gas masks. Above a constant whir of large floor fans, they talked munitions, tactics, and casualties. Demonstrators outside could be heard chanting, "Go home, feds," as some repeatedly shook the embassy-style fence out front. Teams of officers from the Federal Protective Service, U.S. Marshals Special Operations Group, and the Border Patrol Tactical Unit waited for their call-up. "Line up and head out," a supervising officer directed one Federal Protective Service team late Saturday night. The team proceeded through two front doors to a barrage of objects being thrown their way. The view from inside the landmark federal courthouse in downtown Portland, named for a pacifist U.S. Senator from Oregon, is nothing short of surreal. The mood of demonstrators shifted almost on cue from peaceful moms and veterans chanting outside the fence to vandals bent on bringing it down. The Oregonian, Oregon Live, was allowed into the courthouse to see the perspective from the lobby. The scene inside was businesslike, grim, resigned. Federal agents said they are weary of the nightly protests focused on the courthouse since early July. Quote, "We're not getting anywhere," said a 7-year deputy marshal. Quote, "If they just stayed off the fence and weren't being aggressive towards us, we'd just be inside twiddling our thumbs. I don't think there's an end in sight. They don't want to stop, but we can't leave this building until they leave us alone. The give has to give on the outside of the fence." End quote. As the night wore on, every so often, loud booms rang from the commercial fireworks launched by protesters, the concussion thundering through the high-ceiling lobby. The cavernous interior remained dark, except for bright green laser beams bouncing off the walls as protesters aimed them from the outside. And we got a little video footage of that too. When the federal officers opened the front doors, everything from small rubber bouncy balls to apples and ball bearings were chucked in. Some officers huddled around a bank of security screens in the entry just behind the front doors to keep watch on what was going down in front, back and on the sides of the 16-story building. 2 flights up, the U.S. Marshal Service Incident Management Team sat around a conference room table, each man focused on his small black laptop, handheld radios at the ready, large screens at either end, looking up frequently to check live footage streaming not only from the protest just outside their doors, but others in Oakland, LA, and Seattle. The team is largely a coordination unit, making sure officers are properly supplied. Deputies volunteer to be on the group, which has done security in the past for federal emergency management shelters and responded to hurricanes. Suddenly, their radios cracked. "Be advised, they have eyes on the gate. They're preparing for something." "Good evening, Captain Obvious," another deputy said to those gathered in the room, drawing chuckles. Another officer urged the others to cut some slack to the guy on the radio. He's new to the drill, having just arrived from out of town. Lights remained out in courthouse rooms beside windows on the upper floors to avoid drawing attention from people outside. And it just goes on here. It describes, sort of what they dealt with and all the chaos happening outside. And it's just interesting to hear from the other side here, a perspective, I guess, of what it's like to be inside the building, not just what's happening with the gate and all that. At 2:37,
another perspective.
Yeah, 2:37 a.m., about 100 people had returned outside, some dancing, some chanting Black Lives Matter. One played the cheer "Charge" on a trumpet. The federal officers needed to wait them out. One deputy marshal joked that most people until now didn't have a clue who they are or what they do, and that when he says he works for the Marshal Service, some people sometimes looked at him and asked, "Marshmallow?" 13-year deputy marshal who is based in Portland said he believes the message of the police reform and Black Lives Matter movement is getting lost with the attention on the vandalism and rioting downtown. And it goes on here. Yeah. So pretty crazy. And, these people are trying to protect federal property. But, of course, what you get on the headlines is like, yeah, Trump going after the government, leave us alone. I think the UN even told Trump to step down before he commits humanitarian violations or something. It's like, come on now. They just want to unleash the UN army. The men in
well,
blue.
they've been looking for a reason for that for decades. So.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things that I wanted to point out here, I think you're on it, Basil, but there's something that went viral, a picture that went viral.
Okay.
Oh, you
Sorry,
okay there?
This cat is attacking the situation here.
Yeah, I know. The cats really like the... hey, cat! Trying to do a show. I saw this tweet get shared all over the place, or at least this image here. It's of a military guy with a mask that's a pretty scary looking mask, kind of like I don't know how you explain it, like a Jason mask kind of, but it covers the whole face, the eyes, the neck, the whole deal. And, you know, the sentiment coming from the left a lot of times that was shared here. Trump's America. Putin told them to do this to dominate. And you had like all these people.
And the big thing was this was shared from a blue check mark.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there was tons of people sharing this. I saw a whole bunch of people.
Cherie Jacobus,
yeah.
Jacobus. Biden 2020 fighting Trump and coronavirus for as long as it takes. Hashtag never Trump. Independent pundit, writer, executive producer. America reads the Mueller report. Yeah. And so they shared this image of kind of a futuristic armored police officer, which was shared quite a bit, you know, claiming that this was the future in Trump's America.
No, I don't even think they were saying future. I think they were like, I saw a lot of people, a lot of blue checkers sharing this, saying like, this is what it's come to. You know, this is Trump's military, Fed, whatever. You know, this is the totalitarianism that is unleashed by Trump and all this kind of stuff. It's out of control in the Twitterverse. But of course, not a real picture. Debunked.
Yeah. It's from a video game designer.
From August of 2016. Mike Anash, I think.
Yeah, Mike Nash.
Or is it Mike Nash? Mike A. Nash. On ZBrushCentral.com posted this August 16th. Hey, everyone. Thought I'd post this up here. Shows what's possible in ZBrush. It's all Dynamesh. I think he meant except the cord and pistol. And
so this was a CGI design that he did, and he shows all of his steps in his work and his many iterations of the project. And how could he have known that 4 years later blue check marks would have taken his video game police officer design and claimed that it was Trump's America?
It's just it's just really funny. It's kind of sad. The thing is, though, you got to keep in mind this type of thing happens all the time to the right-wing conspiracy circles too. So it's not just the whole left liberal type that are.
It's just human nature, you know. You're when you're already primed to react to something, and then somebody shares something novel that backs up that bias. You don't even take 1 second to do a reverse image Google search that would have answered all your questions.
Yeah.
You know, but you don't get any of the social justice points if you do that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's just so wild how and not even saying this as like, we're not here as like super Trump supporters, but it's just crazy how like the hate for Trump is just out of control. And you know, there's other people talking about that.
We'll make fun of whoever deserves it at the time.
Right.
Sometimes it's Trump. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah. And there's another tweet here. This got a lot of play as well. ABC News tweeted this out. Protesters in California set fire to a courthouse, damaged a police station, and assaulted officers after a peaceful demonstration intensified.
No kidding.
And people pointing out that if peaceful demonstrations intensifies, that would mean that the peace got more intense. Not that you know, courthouses got set on fire and police stations exploded.
Peaceful demonstration is a more peaceful demonstration. So you got some double speak, some double think going on here.
Yeah. And I actually thought it was I found the jingle that we used to play here that alludes to this. Where did I put it? Man, I'm losing my spot. Here it is.
Mind control intensifies.
Mind
Bleep,
control.
bleep.
It intensifies.
Don't worry. It's all peaceful.
All peaceful.
That's a campfire, not a burning courthouse. What are you talking about? Break out
myth.
your marshmallows.
It's a myth. We talked about the Jerry Nadler myth thing. And then, the other thing that I wanted to point out, just from all these riot things happening here, when we were reporting on Hong Kong, oops, I think I deleted it here. When we were reporting on Hong Kong and the riots there last year, we were talking about how a lot of the Hong Kong citizens were using lasers and shooting them towards, the police officers, the CCP there in China, in Hong Kong. And they're using the same tactic out here now. And there are reports of, law enforcement officers getting like eye damage and stuff because they're using some really high powered lasers and pointing them directly into the eyes of the police officers, and the same effect is taking place.
Also effective against drones and other image-based computing, but not very cool to shine that in people's eyes. Don't these people have mothers that told them not to shine lasers in their eyes?
Yes, they did. But also, I saw somebody say like, oh, I've been trying to tell people about the lasers. This is how they did it in Hong Kong. And I was like, do you know what happened in Hong Kong? Do you not know what resulted from that?
Still these people not are quite just working out for them over in Hong Kong.
But still, people are just, okay. But of course, we have to end this little segment on a little motherly update.
Mother.
That's right.
There is no other like mother. So treat her right. Come on.
Come on, Newsweek.com. Portland mom says she was struck in the face during a protest. National news here, folks. Portland mom says she was struck in the face while protesting in the Wall of Moms group at the weekend. So we've been following the Wall of Moms, getting involved there over in Portland. People have been asking, what would your mother think with you out there rioting? And these moms are here to answer that question. Kristen Jessie Uenick. Ooh, that Uenick kind of brings up the same spelling and pronunciation issues we've been trying to figure out with the Uyghurs.
Oh, yeah.
Uenick.
Uyghurs or Uyghurs.
Kristen Jessie Uenick detailed what she says happened in a post on Facebook, but she prefaced it by saying that Black Lives Matter, quote, should remain at the center of every conversation about police brutality and the deployment of federal forces to Portland. Jessie Uenick, 41, said she joined the Wall of Moms for a march on Saturday that ended at the Multnomah County Justice Center in downtown Portland. The Wall of Moms started as a small group of mothers, many dressed in yellow, shielding protesters from federal agents in Portland, but quickly became a much larger presence at demonstration that has also since spread to other cities. In recent days, federal agents have repeatedly clashed with crowds outside of a federal courthouse they have been stationed in, firing tear gas and impact weapons to disperse crowds. Impact weapons. What weapon is not an impact weapon?
Moms.
Maybe some like
a line of moms.
Oh, you trust me. A lot of those moms are legally considered impact weapons.
True, actually.
Quote, and the flip-flops on their feet, too. Quote, as a 41-year-old white woman with immense privilege, and a mother of 3 young children, I was inspired to use not only my voice, but also my body to defend our First Amendment right to protest and send a clear message that Black lives are worth fighting for. Jessie Uenick wrote alongside a picture of herself at the protest and another of her head injury. At around 10:50 p.m. on Saturday, she said she had pulled out her phone and took pictures of the federal agents standing opposite her. Quote, I put my phone back in my pocket, pulled my safety goggles down from where they sat on my helmet to cover my eyes, inserted a pair of earplugs, and locked arms with the women next to me, she wrote. I remember some confetti had been launched on the far right side of us. I could on the far right, they're shooting confetti, as I could hear a marching band playing in the intersection to our left. Confetti and marching band. This riot sounds awesome. Is there cake too? I didn't notice anything in particular happening around me or in front of me at these moments. I was looking around, looking forward, and taking it in. Just before 11 p.m., I heard boom and felt something hit my face. Oh no. It wasn't immediately clear what struck Jessie Uenik. Quote, I fell backwards into the other moms who must have caught me because I don't remember hitting the ground, she added. Jessie Uenik recalled being picked up by someone who carried her through the crowd, yelling at others to get out of the way. Quote, I never saw this person because there was blood gushing down my face, but I am forever grateful for them for swiftly and selflessly carrying me to safety, she added. I was laid down on the back of a medic vehicle, and a number of kind, brave, and caring medical professionals helped me. She recalls then being transported to a second vehicle on a gurney through a sea of tear gas. After they stopped the bleeding, they called an ambulance and transported me to a second vehicle on a gurney through a sea of tear gas. Wow, they said again. She wrote, I covered my face and listened as medics and protesters yelled, make way, to carry me through. But the ambulance she was waiting for never arrived, she said. So the driver of the medic vehicle offered to take her to the hospital. I wonder why that ambulance didn't arrive. Could it have been some protesters on the freeway? Continuing, I am in awe of the care and compassion shown to me by these volunteer medics and protesters alike. I felt safe in their presence, she added. At the hospital, a CAT scan showed no brain damage or injury to her skull, but did reveal a foreign substance in her forehead and in one of her eyes, Jessie Uenik added. She says she ended up receiving 7 stitches, some pain medication, and advice to follow up with an eye doctor before being released from the hospital. Jessie Uenik ended her post by urging people to find ways to support Black Lives Matter movement. There we go. Yeah, we'll finish it out here. I'm lucky to be surrounded by family, friends, neighbors. Nope, just ends with a bunch of feel-good stuff. But there you go. Mom's taking the hits.
Yeah. Lynette SR in the YouTube chat said, too many people want their moment of viral fame at these protests. They go hoping for something, quote unquote, to happen. And is it worth it? Are Black Lives safer because she got struck in the face with a something?
Something happened.
And do we even know it was from the police units? Or was it just somebody that was just there?
Well, I mean, I personally don't have any reason to doubt that she got shot in the face.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. I'm just saying, number one, do we know that this was like the Fed shooting a rubber bullet or something? And number two, are Black Lives safer now that she got hit in the face?
Yep. The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. Okay.
Didn't you read? Aren't you a good citizen?
Oh, yes. Yes, I am a good comrade.
Yes. Oh, look at this. This is interesting. We're getting auto mods. So there's an auto mod that we can't control on the Twitch channel. Held a message for reason hostility.
Oh, boy.
And the hostility was the term white privilege. Wow. Chat is going through a whole scientific method of seeing what spelling and syntax of white privilege gets blocked by the mods. That's interesting. The words white privilege are being held back for hostility reasons. I'm just going to go ahead and allow that there.
Now everyone's going to start posting that in the chat, and the mods are going to get angry. Well, that's
okay. They're just calling me out for my white privilege and calling you out, Gons, for your white privilege.
I know, my golden privilege.
Yeah.
I'm sun-baked gold.
Now chat is extending their scientific method to see what other things.
Okay. No.
Change the subject. Quick, Gons. Quick, we must go to a break.
It's break time!
Come on, take a break, everybody. We're just going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere because we got much more show after the break here. I'm bringing back a story that we couldn't fit into a show last week involving welfare workers claiming to be professional kidnappers. We got some HWO VR news, some COVID news, some beast system, and what we've all been waiting for, some Nephilim update. We're going to get the Nephilim update here. But first, we want to thank a bunch of people. We want to thank new producers. We want to thank new Twitch followers, all sorts of great stuff. We really have one of the greatest communities, I think, that I've encountered on the internet. And it's because, you know, people, well, it's for many reasons. One, we're a safe space, Gons. We're safe. We're safe space.
I like how you're trying to appease the Twitch mods by using some language.
Yes, I'm using the coded language so that we can rise in the ranks of Twitch, because that's what it takes. Yeah. But anyways, I want to thank some of our Twitch followers here. I like to thank the Twitch followers because Twitch, out of all the outlets that we can live stream on, Twitch, although it does block the term white privilege in the chat, has been the kindest to us online here. More Twitch notifications go out to followers. We rarely, if ever, get content taken down, demonetized, streams cut off right in the middle, which all those things happen habitually over on YouTube. So I recommend, even if you are a YouTube fan, to at least follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/CanaryCryRadio. Follow us there and turn on notifications and give it a try. Give a try watching over on Twitch. And Twitch has a lot of cool tools. The emojis are better. The chat's better. It's where all the cool kids are. And it's also helps us out, helps us support ourselves over there. But I want to thank some new Twitch followers. Gons, are you ready to ding away?
My finger is ready to ding.
Okay, here we go. We're starting out with SBoss88, Fluxgree, Alpro02, Neck with a 3 instead of an E.
Ooh,
very good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this one's good. Don't diddle the DNA. That's right. Oh, who we got? Gazel Bonds Crispr Chimera.
Ooh,
these are great.
That's
great
that's scary. I don't like that.
Yeah, no, see, this is good. We had the cow story, the cow CRISPR DNA story, and I think it just happens to be that these people made CRISPR DNA related usernames. That's why I love Twitch, you know, people, because, you know, you've made your YouTube account, you've had your Google account, you have your Facebook account, you did that all in the before 4 times, but now that you're a Canary Cry Canarian, you're a Canary Cry Commando, following us on Twitch allows you to upgrade your username to a more effective username, like Don't Diddle the DNA and Gazelbon's CRISPR Chimera. Next, we have Lisa's Wondering. Lisa's Wondering, thank you.
Don't wonder anymore.
This one has so many levels. I want to thank Flippy the Tambourine Hand.
Ooh.
That's a long-time listener, must be. They finally made the switch. Flippy, obviously, is our beloved disembodied robot arm, and Tambourine Hand as a reference to Gonzo the Tambourine Man. A joke I don't think we've really explained for a couple years. So thank you, Flippy the Tambourine Hand. Next is Darbs Barbs 88. Then we have Internet Prize. Thank you, Internet Prize. We've got... Not yet. We've got RS Valentine 1. We got Manic Annika's Chalupa.
Ooh, chalupas.
Yes. Legless Hydra.
Oh.
Yeah. Eden's Alchemy. Ooh.
That's some esoteric.
Yes. Yahweh is salvation. Yahweh is salvation. Thank you. Shadow Wolf Pizza. Issa 53.5. Wonder if that's Issa, the End Times Mama. Amy Goody 6. We Ran 1. Wow, we've got a lot of followers here. Okay, hold on. We're almost to we'll get just a couple more. Hizzle Mushnick. I don't know what that is. I'm afraid I may have offended somebody, but Hizzle Mushnick, thanks for the follow. And that is it. Yes, that is all of them. Thank you so much. We actually just hit 1,800 followers over on Twitch, which we're very happy about. Thank you very much. Now, to hit our goals, we do need more of those people to watch live on Twitch, but you all know that. So if you have a Twitch account, please consider watching over at twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. Now, Gons, we're just doing one break this show, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. So I think we should thank some producers. And for those who don't know, we used to ask for donations just like, all the other podcasts trying to make their way in this world. But we quickly realized that this is the real world, and people who help pay for the creation of media content, they're not just donors, they are producers. So over here on patreon.com/CCNT, which is just one of the great ways you can help support the show and become a producer. And we had one come in during the show, so they get to make it on the list. Gons, are you ready to thank these new producers?
Yes, very excited.
Okay. The newest member of the producer family is Falcor's mom.
Ooh.
Thank you, Falcor's mom. Yeah,
sounds intense.
Pretty cool. Yeah, Falcor's mom helps produce the show. Then we got Mikey Sam. Thank you, Mikey Sam.
Thank you, Mikey Sam.
And then also a big old thank you to Christine. Thank you, Christine.
Thanks, Christine.
Yeah, those are all the producers that came in over the weekend. You can join them at patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. There's all sorts of fun stuff. We got bonus episodes over there on the Patreon. We got merch and cool stuff. Wait, I don't know if the merch is on there yet. Oops, I may have just given away a secret. Moving on. Over on the patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio, we had another one come in today. This is great. Carl. Thank you very much, Carl.
That's Anime Carl.
Producer Carl. We also have, that is it. Thank you very much, Carl. Anime Carl?
Yep, Anime Carl.
Oh, that's fun. Thanks, Anime Carl. So there you go. Those are some of the new producers that came in on Patreon over the weekend there. Remember, patreon.com/CCNT is a great way to support the show and become a producer. Now, if you don't like Patreon, there was, we had some Patreon trouble a while back. But if you are not a fan of Patreon, but you still want to support the show, you can head to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. It's a cool place to hang out. canarycryradio.com/support. We've got other options over there. PayPal specifically. We've got, you can make a subscription amount through PayPal, or if commitment's not your thing, you can just make a one-time donation, as well as cryptocurrency, stuff like that. So, Gons, did we have anybody else come through PayPal this weekend?
Yes, we actually had some big-time producers come in and step up this week. So
thank you.
We appreciate it. First, we had William.
Thank you very much, William.
Producer William. And matching producer William is producer Arnold.
William and Arnold. Was it William Steele?
Maybe. I don't know. Could be.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe Jewel Thief. Yeah. We also had Spears Desert come in.
You disappear. I lost you for a second. What was that name you said?
Spears Desert.
Oh, Spears Desert. Thank you very much, Spears Desert.
And we got one. I had to translate the name because it came in Russian. So that's our Russian collusion right there.
Ooh,
Valerie.
Our Russian handler,
Valerie. Thank you for your support and producership. And so, thank you for all 4 coming in. Big time.
Yeah. Very cool. Thank you guys for supporting the show. And, just if you haven't heard me say it before, we like to encourage people to help produce the show. Like I said, it's the real world. We're not just taking your money for charity. We have stayed consistent, and we like to think we do a good job. And it's only because of the help of our producers. We couldn't do it without them. We don't believe in advertising. I was happy to say that some people they realized what I was talking about last episode. Apparently, I did a good job of explaining how advertising really is one of the biggest problems with media creation in the world today. It's why we have so much fake news. It's why we have clickbait. It's why we have content creators who stay in an alarmed position. They what is the word? Sensationalism. The clickbait headlines, the all that kind of stuff. It's because the desire to get as many eyeballs and attention and activity around the stuff you make, and it's really part of the reason why the world has been put into such a frenetic, confusing state, is because when you rely on advertisers to support yourself and create a piece of media, you have to do what's called brand safe. You're not allowed to say a lot of the things you want to say. We certainly couldn't do the show in its current form if we had to rely on advertisers. There's a temptation there for a lot of people to tailor your message and your content to keep advertisers happy, which, as we see, is not the best thing for the people. And that's not to mention that, you give us your attention, you lend us your eyeballs, and for us to turn around and to turn you into a product, to commoditize your trust and attention and sell it to a corporation, just doesn't feel right to us. And so it's part of our rebellious nature against the system of this world to work on the system that we do, the value for value model.
Right. And if we actually had advertisers, or we had, people that we sold the attention to the advertisers, we couldn't have titles of episodes like Civil Chaos, Crypto, Crispr, Cow, and just run with it. They would be like, listen, I don't think this title is going to work with our product of hand soap. It's really going to damage the reputation of our hand soap. So you're gonna have to change that title. And we don't have to deal with any of that stuff. I don't know how many people listening have dealt with the corporate media environment. I know you have, Basil. I mean, I've dabbled. I've come across it before, and I just know that it's not fun. There's a lot of legislation, a lot of people power tripping, and a lot of money that gets involved in people's opinions and political correctness and all kinds of stuff. And we can just avoid all of it, and we can just say whatever we want. And of course, we'll get demonetized by YouTube, but hey, it's okay because you guys support us.
I've mentioned it on past episodes, but just because we have new people, I'll say it again. I don't mean to repeat myself too much, although I can't help it sometimes. But Gons, over the years, we've gotten we've been solicited quite a few times from some fairly big advertisers. And I think it's because, I think the main thing is that, these big organizations, they just kind of, if you have the numbers, they'll open the conversation. Right. And we have had to turn down, well, not had to, but we've chosen to turn down all those opportunities because, well, one reason or another, it wouldn't have been right for the show. Wouldn't have been right for us.
Man, we really should have taken that
the big one.
The big one. The big one that we we turned down because we just didn't feel right about it.
Could have had the big one, man.
I know.
But that's okay. Instead, we get to sleep at night. We get to keep our souls, and we get to feel the warm and fuzzy joy that comes from people deciding that they value this show. They value the content within the show. They value the free nature of what we do, and they want to support it and join the ranks of producers. Like I said, not just donors. Yep. You're part of the actual system. It couldn't exist without you. Okay.
Yep. We're running short on time, so we got to zoom through this real quick, but we did get a jingle. That's another way to support the show. You can send us jingles, relevant jingles. We got one from Tim, and Tim sent one in. That's going to be our theme jingle for the World Health Organization. Fantastic.
I like it. Short,
perfect.
Snappy.
Yes, it is perfect. We're going to use that.
Jefferson 33 in the chat was wondering what our big advertiser may have been and suggested the KY Jelly contract. It was not the KY Jelly contract, Jefferson 33. No. Well, thank you very much. Who was it who created that jingle?
That was Tim who created the jingle.
Tim. Yeah. Thank you very much, Tim. We needed a jingle for the HWO. That's great. Now, another way to become a producer is we like to show art on the show. Show-specific art, show-inspired art. We've got some great artists. The art shows up on our Facebook feed, and it'll be in newsletters and things like that. And, we've got some very talented people who will listen to the show live and create art as we do the show, and that's great. One of the very prolific artists we've had lately is Gazel and Bonds on the Twitch chat, a young listener named Allie, and we've got a couple more pieces from her today. What do we got, Gons?
We have the Face Like the Sun. It's the lion. Very nice. It's like the logo, but hand drawn.
Yeah, and she's very talented.
Very talented. I like it. It's powerful. And also, we got one more here. This is a little disagreement, is what it's titled, and I think it goes back to our the episode where we argued, right? I guess I yelled at you or whatever.
Well, this one, there was some great art regarding your temper tantrum there. But this one is specifically, Allie has done a great job of putting a series of pieces together that are centered around my cats. And this is another one called Little Disagreement. And it's Monty isn't going to wear a headset ever. Not if you want the script for the show. And of course, the folklore being created that Allie is so expertly crafting is that the whole show is scripted by a number of cats that control the show. Yes.
Very good. Also, one way you can support the show and curtail the advertisement, or at least get paid for your advertisement, is the Brave browser. I'll drop a link in the chat there if you guys want to try it. It's brave.com/FAC922. I don't know why that's the extension there, but there you go. You can check it out and earn some BAT token for browsing the internet. And I think you had, did you have a couple reviews that you wanted to read from the Apple podcast?
And real quick, just for the transparency, Gonzo, Brave browser is a cool browser, privacy centric, and helps you commoditize your own attention. So you get paid in cryptocurrency just for surfing the web. And the link you dropped in there, and it'll be in the show notes, is an affiliate link for Gonz, part of his funding structure for his life. So if you want to help out Gons and also learn about a new way to interact with the internet, check out Brave, Gons' Brave browser affiliate link. That will be in the show notes and is in the chat.
Yep.
And yes, okay, I finally did it. Now, the reviews on Apple, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and other places are very important. It's one of those things, the very few things that are completely out of our control in regard to this show, Gons, is one of the best ways that new people learn about the show is the algorithms. Share the show with them. And those algorithms are only what's the word I'm looking for? They're only influenced by ratings and reviews. So you, the listener, can play a very important role in helping the algorithms share the show by leaving ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. And I've been saying I'm going to read a couple for a few episodes now. And here are a couple. This one is from Godspeed to Finch, another great producer and artist of the show. And they leave a 5-star review that says, "World news from a more logical stance." I like that. I like being called logical. I don't get it very often, but I appreciate it. "Funny, clear-headed observations of the world news seen through a biblical lens. Checkity check check. It homes." That's right. Thank you very much, Godspeed to Finch.
Thanks, Godspeed
very
to
effective.
Finch.
That's what I'm talking about. We need more of those reviews, and the robots will learn that they need to share this show with everybody. And there you go. Funny, clear-headed observations of the world through a biblical lens. I think that's a very well put observation about the show. Next was favorite podcasters. Great podcast. My go-to for Christian fringe type stuff. And that's great. I love being a go-to. Thank you very much. And that was from JRob22 over on Apple Podcasts. You're the one. You're the one for me.
You're the one.
Thank you for the kind words.
You're disappointing people in chat.
I am disappointing people in chat?
You are.
I always am.
By calling this one person the one for you.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about. Okay.
What's next, Gons?
I think we got to zoom through some stuff to get out. I got to get out of here. So we're going to end the break and we will get on with some of the stories we had here.
Yes, wake up.
It's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
This is a story I wanted to bring a couple episodes ago, but just didn't fit. But NewYorkPost.com, the title is "Arizona Child Welfare Workers Fired for Wearing, quote, professional kidnapper shirts." Yikes. The article reads, multiple employees of the Arizona Department of Child Safety lost their jobs for wearing T-shirts that read "professional kidnapper," according to a report. My goodness. The bright pink shirts that were apparently worn during work hours led to the firing of several staffers last month, the Arizona Republic reports, citing multiple sources in the agency's Prescott field office and a former unit supervisor. The back of the shirts, according to photos obtained by the newspaper, read, "Do you know where your children are?" Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is horrible. One former employee confirmed she was terminated for the shirt, but refused to elaborate or identify herself. No kidding. Her firing and that of her other staffers in Prescott left the field office understaffed. You know, that's really inconvenient when so much of your staff claim to be child kidnappers and then have to be fired. It really is a staffing issue afterwards. Purportedly with just one investigator to look into complaints of child abuse and neglect, according to the report. The shirts were a misguided attempt to make light of critics who blast DCS workers who remove children from their families. Some who have been accused, The shirts were a misguided attempt to make light of critics who blast DCS workers who remove children from their families. Some who have been accused who even accused them of being kidnappers, the Arizona Republic reports. Christina Sanders, a former DCS unit supervisor, said she saw a photo of the investigators posing in the T-shirts and contacted the agency's director, claiming it showed some of her former co-workers. In one photo, snitch. The snitch got him. In one photo that appeared to be taken in a parking lot outside the Prescott office, several staffers posed to show both sides of the shirt while one employee wore her work ID badge, according to the report. Quote, "They think they're so untouchable. They don't think they can get caught," Sanders told the newspaper. Weird. Claire Luge, executive director of Prevent Child Abuse Arizona, said the message on the shirt, quote, "really illuminates that people in the system are biased against parents in some instances." A message seeking comment from the agency early Wednesday was not immediately returned, but a spokesperson declined to comment late Monday. The Arizona Republic reports, quote, "The department does not comment on personal matters." Pretty sure this is bigger than a personal matter, the spokesman said in an email. This was very disturbing. I mean, of course, I've heard a lot of pretty nasty things about child welfare organizations, and especially all over the world. There's been a lot of, I don't know, call them conspiracy theories, call them isolated incidences, call them whatever you want. But, when an organization has the authority to take your children from you, you're not going to make a lot of friends. And calling yourself, putting on a shirt that says, "Do you know where your children are? I'm a professional kidnapper," is not a great way to lighten the mood about this horrible, horrible thing.
I want to know what that meeting was like to come up with these shirts.
I don't know.
Like,
they keep claiming.
Yeah.
Well, they trying to pass it off like, oh, this was just a thing that these ladies did as a joke or something.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though.
How tone deaf and colorblind and just idiotic do you have to be?
Well, that's why I'm wondering how the meeting went. Somebody came up with it. Oh, we'll be the child kidnappers. And, everyone goes,
especially in Pizza Land times.
Yeah. Well, and plus the people who actually printed the shirts, aren't they going to be like, no, I'm not going to print that on your shirt?
Somebody should have called the FBI.
There's like multiple
somewhere along the line,
multiple levels or moments when people could have stepped in and at least,
Stop this progress before it is too late.
Yeah, really. And, this, who was it? Christina Sanders, a former DCS unit supervisor who was the snitch in this case. And she said they think they're so untouchable, they don't think they can get caught, which is a kind of a weird thing to say about a T-shirt incident.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's kind of
almost like they're trying to make it to almost make it a sarcastic thing because they're guilty of something.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. It's like, I don't know, you've got this former agent who used to work there and was in a position where they felt like they needed to blow the lid off of this. It really is quite a suspicious situation. And of course, this is not a funny thing. Like I mentioned, there's been a lot of shady things in connection with different child welfare organizations over, just globally or whatever, flat earthly.
I'm trying to remember the name of. There was a lawyer who exposed a lot of that was shot and killed along with her husband in their home. This was about 3 or 4 years ago. It was like right around the Pizzagate stuff was going public. It was a lawyer. I think she was from Florida or Georgia, somewhere on the east. And she had written a whole thing exposing the whole system of child welfare and how they did, abuse some of their power and stuff and helped out some of these child trafficking rings.
Right.
And she was found dead, allegedly murder-suicide.
Wow.
So of course there's stuff like this going on. And I
do have to thank for the remnant in chat for saying, "For we not wrestle against Karen and her terrible shirts, but against powers and principalities." So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, wild that somebody would think that that's okay, even in a joking way.
Yeah. We got to shave a couple stories, but I wanted to get through this one and then we'll do the Nephilim update. So here we go. This is the HoustonChronicle.com. WHO, the World Health Organization, unveils Florence, the world's first digital health worker to combat smoking and COVID-19 myths. The World Health Organization has launched its first digital health worker, Florence. The digital health worker was created by a company in New Zealand, Soul Machines. We've reported on Soul Machines. Now they have a reason to deploy them now. Because Florence is a robot, there's no potential health-related judgment involved. Greg Cross, I remember talking about Greg Cross and saying like, Cross, eh? Co-founder of Soul Machines, eh? Said in a video that, quote, the lack of human judgment actually makes our digital people more approachable and potentially more helpful. Then there's a tweet that they sent out here. Let me play the...
Hi, I'm Florence, a digital health worker with the World Health Organization. I'm here to help tobacco users quit as the world unites against COVID-19.
What? Okay, stop smoking, you COVID-19 people.
Well, allegedly, the idea is that smokers have a significantly higher risk of COVID-19.
I hear that's depending on what you smoke. But tobacco in this case, I suppose. The primary purpose of the WHO initiative, help convince 1 billion tobacco users to quit smoking. Florence uses artificial intelligence to dismiss myths about COVID-19 and smoking and helps people develop a personalized plan to quit tobacco. And goes on with some numbers here and blah, blah, blah. But there you go. Florence, the soul machine deployed during this Rona crisis. Aren't we so lucky, Basil, that we live in such times?
So lucky that we have robots to help us quit our bad habits.
And also being unleashed by... I like that jingle. It's nice and snappy, you know?
I know. I do too.
Okay, now we have to wrap things up here. Let's do a quick little Nephilim update here.
Nephilim update.
Okay, this is prweb.com. LaRon, and we're going to, we do this for a lot of people. Anytime any author has like a Nephilim reference in their books and they do some kind of PR thing, we're going to talk about it. LaRon Nelson's newly released The Power Within fuses biblical truths into a fictional tale about the extraordinary adventure of a young man. And, I don't remember the name of the woman we interviewed several years ago now, that didn't take the Nephilim narrative the way that we see it. But I think they
she was playing with the idea that a Nephilim could be a good guy.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's exactly what's going on here, but let's find out. The Power Within from Christian faith publishing author LaRon Nelson is a brilliant combination of Bible truths and the Nephilim that follow a man's mission of drawing his people back home to God's grace. The Power Within.
Combination.
Yeah. A profound illustrated story about a man who gains power through his faith in God and fulfills his mission. The Power Within is the creation of published author LaRon Nelson, a father of 3 who resides in Michigan. He and his family attend Resurrection Life Church and accept Christ as their savior. That's good. Nelson shares, quote, one of the most fascinating facts that occurs throughout the Bible is that we are shown to be created in the image of God, and he consistently gives us power through faith in Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. Point number 1, so God created man. He goes through some passages here. He goes through Genesis 1:27, John 14:12, and another John 14:16 through 17, all in the NIV. The Bible also briefly describes those that come from the sons of God. And then it quotes Genesis 6:4. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterwards when the sons of God went to the daughters of men and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. Genesis 6:4 implies that the Nephilim are no more, even though it says, and afterwards, after the flood. Anyway, they were on the earth in those days and they were the heroes of old. Did the Nephilim have children as well? Are there traces of them left to this day? This book combines Bible truths along with questions about Nephilim to create a modern tale of how a young man will lead his people back to God and his word. Yes, it just kind of repeats itself. Published by Christian Faith Publishing. Okay, yeah, we get that. Yeah, that's all it says. So what do you think, Basil? Do you think this is one of those books, The Power Within? Is this
psyops?
Is this?
It's like a mix between. It's like a Joel Osteen take on
the
if you have Nephilim blood.
Yeah. If you're Nephilim blood, you live your best life now. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
That's white privilege right there. So anyway,
check your privilege, Gons.
The Power Within, story about how a modern Nephilim brings people back to God. I don't know.
Nephilim update.
Okay, there you go. Well, anything, is that it? We good
That's
for today?
it. Yeah.
Is that a show?
Save.
Did we do a show?
I think we did a show, or at least something like a show.
Good. There you
Over
go.
2 hours.
Show adjacent.
Yep. We're not quite at the 3.5 hour point, but people
That's
can't
okay.
handle the
That's
3.5
good.
hours.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Here's the thing. Remember, we're doing this for now and for the past, oh my gosh, like 5 months. We've been doing this show 3 times a week, and this week is no different. We'll be back on Wednesday, the 29th. Wednesday, the 29th, sometime between noon and 5 p.m. PST. So make sure you turn on notifications, follow us on Twitch, and tune in. Same time, same place, sometime on Wednesday. And we will see you there. And remember, you got to remember us, because we need some more producers for next week's show. And so if you want to become a producer of the show, I highly recommend it. It's not only, a kind of put in what you get out of it type thing, but you actually get out what you put into it type of thing. And so please consider us at patreon.com/CCNT. Help us make this show a continuing reality. But if you don't like Patreon, you can head over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. That's where all you cool PayPal folks and cryptocurrency folks can help us out. And we look forward to giving a shout out to our generous and important producers on Wednesday. Now, remember, if financial support is not in the cards for you, that's totally cool. We understand tax season. It's just everything's hard right now. But there's other ways you can be a producer of the show. You create art, show-related art, if you're a graphic designer or artist or something like that, like Gazel and Bonds. Good listener alley there. You can send all art to canarycryradio@gmail.com. Is a great way to get that to us, as well as jingles. If you have a show-related jingle, a topical jingle that you create, make it short, make it snappy, and don't give us copyright infringements. You can send that to canarycryradio@gmail.com as well. We couldn't do it without you folks, so thank you very, very much. Let's see. Oh, remember to leave ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts and all the other places that you listen to the show. It's much more important than you think. And, I just want to remind everybody, as you hear me repeating these things that I repeat every 3 times a week, keep in mind that if you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, somebody else will do it, that's exactly what everybody else is thinking. So if you're sitting here, you got a couple minutes, you want to help out the show in any way, take action. That's what makes this world go around. Take action, and we thank you very, very much for that. Okay, now, one of the other great ways to support the show is simply sharing it directly with your friends. You got friends, you got family. Dave needs to hear this show. So why don't you just share an episode with Dave, help him along his journey of waking up and realizing that this world is not what it seems. And a good way to do that is just to send him an episode of Canary Cry News Talk or Canary Cry Radio. Just send it right to him. Say, I think you'll like this. I think you need this. And that's a great way to do it too. But
this is a real broad, you threw a real broad brush there with the Dave.
It's just prophetically calling out Dave.
Okay.
We're going to have some new Dave listeners on Wednesday there. But hey, if you need more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to Dave, you grab Dave by the cage, and then you shake it, Dave.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right, just ask Noah. Okay, remember people, Wednesday, sometime between noon and 5 p.m. PST. We will see you there, and with much more Canary Cry news talk to talk about. So, we'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in to Canary Cry News Talk. See you next time, but until then, all together now, think outside the cage.
Especially Dave.
Dave.
It's gotta be biblical.
Aliens. I tried to tell you.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Bye, Gold. Bye.
Shoo, hallelujah.
Science is truth.
We will launch a new age.
It will kill.
Can't deal with it right now, Basil.
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo.
Are you ready to become
I'll keep you
cyber?
safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on in my people's zoo.
It will kill.
I'll keep the cameras on now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo.
That was nice.
You can't handle the truth.
I'm for the robots.
I'm incapable of hatred.
I tried to tell you.
I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo.
Bring it all.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.